As a business owner, we are always looking to stay fresh in our attempts to grow our business, right? Well, as we do that, it can cause us to stretch our comfort zone, which is a good thing. But yet when we do that, these annoying invisible barriers will show up and sometimes halt our progress. So in this video, what I want to share with you is how to recognize when that's going to happen, why that happens, and when it does, exactly what to do to stop it in its tracks so that you can get the results that you're looking for. Hello, I am Brenda Glover, and I've been coaching small business owners for the past 11 years. And through that time, I have seen so many people sabotage their success. And in all honesty, that absolutely includes me as well. So before I can tell you how we can stop this behavior, I do need to shed some light on why this happens in the first place, especially when it's so counterintuitive to what we actually want. But first, if you are new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that bell to get notified every time I have a new video, because each week I'll be coming out with a new video that's giving you some value nuggets on how to transform your life and business. Okay, so let's get into this self-sabotaging, because it is responsible for holding so many people back, and when it does, it is just so incredibly frustrating. So back in 2013, I was working with someone and he created a multi-million-dollar business. It was doing extremely well. It was just like a viral thing. People just loved it. They were buying every single day. And I was working with him behind the scenes, and like one day we were in California and all of a sudden just something switched inside his head. Everything became a huge big deal. Everything became unmanageable, so much so that he really just wanted to walk away from the business, completely quit. And he was really, really adamant about how nothing was going to go the way he wanted it to go, and he was just done with it. And I was completely floored, because I was like, these are actually simple fixes. The stuff that you're having, we could fix this by this, this, and this. And no matter what it was that I said on how to fix these simple fixes, he just couldn't see it. And he actually ended up walking away from that business. It was really, really interesting to watch. And it was the first time that I really got to see firsthand how big of a deal this self-sabotaging effects can really be. And yes, it certainly happened in my life too, and I've done it myself, but when you see it so close up and so just beyond what it needed to be, it's really eye-opening, and it kind of really made me aware of how much this stuff can hurt your business, even when you're just really trying to succeed and go and get what you want, right? So ultimately you ask, what was his issue? And totally came out. It was a very, very common issue, one that's so out of this world sometimes because we really don't think it is, but it's fear of success. He had massive fear of success. Now, have you ever heard of that? It seems like it's such a ridiculous thing. This is what we're doing. This is why we're building our businesses. We're trying to get success. But there is a lot of fear of success, and there's a lot of reasons where that comes from. And so let me know in the comments, have you ever heard of this concept, fear of success? Have you ever felt it yourself? Because if you have, it really can hinder you a little bit, especially until you realize where it's coming from and how you can deal with it. And back in 2018, I actually had this concept come up again. I'd already been through this and everything, but I was really successful in my first business. And yet the more successful I got, the more horrible my marriage at the time actually got. And it was a very toxic marriage, which was a good thing. So I actually understood it a little bit better. But after rebuilding everything and rebuilding myself back in 2018, when I started to have a lot more success again, it really did a little bit of a number on me, because I had this old story of well, wait a minute, my life is going to fall apart if I start to get more successful. So this fear of success actually stopped me in my tracks for a while until I actually recognized what was actually happening and why it was happening. So I'm going to touch on this fear of success because it's really one that's really, really big deal, but it's a little bit more complicated than the first one that holds people back as well. So if self-sabotage is something that's coming into play, that means if you're even aware of it, you're a little bit more high level, and that's really awesome. And so the first one that really comes to play, most people, because I've been working with business owners for such a long time, it really starts with fear of failure. That's a big one. And it makes a lot of sense, because if you're going to go out there and build a business, you're putting yourself out there. And especially if you're on the internet and you're putting yourself out there for judgment and for comments and for people to say all these different things. And that, for one, is just uncomfortable, right? But you're also putting yourself out there to fail. What if you really go out there and you do this and you overcome all these objections and you overcome some of the judgments and things that are out there? and it still doesn't work and you failed, that's a lot of responsibility, and that does not feel good. And dealing with failure comes with all of its own issues as well. And so sometimes people just don't want to take any of the steps that are going to cause them to get put into that position. Our brain doesn't like pain. It's built that way. It's designed to keep us away from pain. So if we have some of these thoughts of like, well, what if, or what about this happens and this happens, our brain is going to do whatever it can to keep you from getting into that situation. So when that happens, you'll notice that you just aren't doing the work that you need to do to get the goal that you want. You know what it is that you need to do, but you're just not doing it. And a lot of that reason is there's a very deep, this stuff is sneaky. It's not like you're in your head saying, I'm scared of failure. That doesn't happen. This stuff is subconscious. There's a fear of failure. Okay. Now on the flip side, right? This is where, it's a big deal because it's just completely opposite. It's absolutely fear of success. Fear of failure is a little bit more logical, but fear of success is like, this is what you want. This is what's going to actually change your life. These are all the wonderful things that you want to have. This business is going to help you get there. So why would you be scared of it? Right? Well, the biggest reason is that there's a fear of unknown that comes with fear of success. Because if you start to have success, you are now living in the futuristic unknown. And our minds can play a lot of tricks on us when we go into that place. And it really comes from two areas. There's the physical part where there's like, okay, if you've got this really big business, you might have some more stress. You might have some more obligations. You might have to work a lot more time on this business because it's more successful. And the fear of all of that going away at the same time can really just hinder us internally. But then there's also like the emotional stuff that comes along with it, like the family judgment that's going to happen, which they would be happy for you, of course, but maybe there's been this thought of like, successful people are bad people, and then you don't want to be judged by them or ostracized from the group. Fear of it all going away again is this another same thing that can happen. And so all of these things are so powerful because they're subconscious. They're living way deep down inside of you. And until you take some time to uncover what is my issue, why am I not where I want to be right now, then you're going to get stuck and frustrated and do all of the actions that you think you need to do to fix this situation, where the reality is it's not these physical actions that are going to fix it. What the best place that you can do is go internal and start figuring out what has been holding you back. And that really is the key. I can tell you from firsthand experiences through so many clients as well as myself, when you have a desire for something that is a little bit beyond what your internal belief believes is possible, right? You want it, it's possible, but your internal belief, when you want something that internally, you don't have that core belief that you could have it, there's an internal resistance, and you're playing inside of that resistance, and that is going to hold you back all the time. And again, this stuff is very sneaky. It lives inside your subconscious. And the way to recognize it is that, do you feel resistance to something? Do you sit down and procrastinate on something? Do you have negative emotions towards something? Are you frustrated? Do you feel like you're struggling? Are you spinning in circles? These are all of the outward signs that usually would show up when you have some internal resistance going on. And so to be able to help fix this problem, you actually just need to take some time and just really figure out, what is it that I want, and what are the outward actions that are going to get me there, and am I having some internal resistance to that? Because if you can figure that out, it's a game changer for sure. And so what I would like to do is just to absolutely help you in this process. I've spent many, many years researching this and creating the formula of how do we reprogram our subconscious so that these external things and these internal things can actually work together, and there's no more resistance holding them back, okay? So I actually created a very, very in-depth, wonderful video presentation. The link is below in this description, and I share with you this one mindset shift. It absolutely transformed my business. It's responsible for tripling the income for many of my clients. And it's because when you can shift your internal mindset, right? This is not personal development. When you shift the internal mindset, your external world will start to shift too. And I share with you the exact steps on how to start doing this inside your life, inside that presentation. So if you really want to learn a little bit more about this and start going down this rabbit hole, it's really fascinating. That video, the link is below. It will absolutely just really open up your eyes to some of this underworld inside of our mind, inside of our brain. I think it's completely fascinating. I love talking about it. And so my clients have had so many good results coming from this and being able to identify where their limiting beliefs and their invisible barriers are. And man, once that happens, it's like game over. It's almost magic. And so if you're interested in that, it's waiting there for you. It's completely free. Just put your name and email in there so I can send it to you. And for now, that is it for this video. Let me know if you got some value in the comments, if you can relate to any of this. If you have any questions or any specific things of like, well, this is where I'm struggling, let me know in the comments. I'll reply back and say, hey, you might want to dive into this a little bit more to just give you some insight. Because sometimes these little guys inside of our head, they're so incredibly sneaky, and it's our mind that makes it all make sense, where someone else outside of you can actually see something a little bit different, because we all have our own goggles on there. So if you're interested in stopping your self-sabotage, well, first off, are you having it? Most of us do. We wouldn't call it that because it sounds so negative, but it's definitely something that affects a lot of people. And so check out that presentation. It's really, really helpful for you. And again, send me a comment if you got some value. Subscribe, because I will be here every week on Brenda Glover TV, giving you some wonderful new strategies to help you reprogram your subconscious mind so that you can get the true life and business that you are trying to achieve. All right. Again, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.